1949 AD, 58:43 AM. The USSR conducts their first atom bomb test. Commercial television begins, a new audiovisual program to mould public opinion, rewrite history, and brainwash whole generations of people to believe in fictions passed off as facts. Red China emerges as the People's Republic of China is founded, a government that is anything but a republic. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, is founded. Israel is admitted into the United Nations. In New Zealand, it is reported that gigantic human footprints with 6 toes were discovered in volcanic ash, giants once standing at least 12 foot tall. In the area of Bracetown, near the headwaters of the Tennessee River, were found fossilized footprints of 6-toed giants, one being monstrous, the heel impression 13 inches wide, a walking colossus. 1. Wars that changed the world. 2. 20th century events. 3. Lost cities of Lemuria. 4. Secret cities of old South America. 1950 AD, 58:44 AM. Joseph McCarthy published a list of communists operating within the US government. The list contained many Jewish employees in the federal government. The media helped conceal their identities by always referring to those exposed as communists, instead of what they really were, Zionist Jews, many having Americanized their names. By this year, the US State Department was already infested with communist allied officials masquerading as patriotic Americans. In the first half of the 20th century, all the American wars were initiated by Democratic presidents, all heavily influenced by Jewish Zionists. Woodrow Wilson, 5th year, Franklin Roosevelt, 9th year, and Truman, 5th year. No Republican initiated any wars for 50 years of the 20th century. Communist Zionist infiltration into the Republican Party has now reversed this trend. Because of public awareness of the communist threat, most Americans still unaware of Zionist origin of communism, the US Senate and House passed a law to curb communist infiltration in America, a law that President Truman vetoed. The Senate and House then overrode the presidential veto by gaining more than the necessary 2/3 majority, and the Internal Security Act became public law, 831, 81st Congress, 2nd Session. On June 25th, Communist North Korea invaded South Korea, which was not communist. North Korea was allied to China, a communist nation denied entry into the United Nations in this year. The North Korean army crossed the 38th parallel from the Soviet zone after US officials pulled out the American troops, fully knowing that North Korea would invade. Army General Douglas MacArthur, with field commanders Major General William Dean and Lieutenant General Walton Walker, against incredible odds halted the North Korean army in a virtually unprepared South Korea. The American resistance shocked the world. Outnumbered, outgunned, and only with troops from Japan trained and equipped for occupation and not conventional war, General Douglas MacArthur repelled the communists. But President Truman, a total slave to Zionist communists, ordered the US 7th Fleet to take up position between Formosa and China's mainland, effectively blocking Chiang of China, who was against the Chinese communists from coming to the aid of General MacArthur. This move was an act of treason. Governments all around the world understood the implications of President Truman's move against his own generals, showing them just how deep communist infiltration in America truly was within the State Department and White House. The exact same scenario played out in Vietnam, where the North Vietnamese communists attacked the South Vietnamese who were not communists. Russia and China supported the communists, and the White House did too, though the media protected the traitors in the US government and the communist conflicts around the world served their purpose. The Cold War and arms race spawned billions of dollars of profit for world banks. From this year onward, the American media and entertainment industry bullied the American people through exaggerated news reports supported by television programs and movies, depicting the severe Soviet threat to America, justifying the billions spent on national defense and the billions sent overseas to other nations for their own defense, when the truth of the matter was that the USSR Cold War was a big lie Russia was unable to maintain tight controls on all her satellite nations, much less invade the United States. In 1950, astronomers Whipple and Oort published papers demonstrating the icy conglomerate model of cometary nuclei, and Oort published the theory that comets came from the very edge of the solar system. The Dutch astronomer Jan Oort postulated that at the edge of the solar system was a vast strewn field, the Oort cloud, where comets originated. He believed that comets were perturbed and shoved into the inner solar system into orbits around the Sun by passing stars. He was very close, for we now know that it is the intruder planets Nibiru and Phoenix that perturb these comets. Astronomers John C. Brandt and Robert D. Chapman in Introduction to Comets, 2nd edition, 2004, assert that the modern era of comet astronomy began in 1950. These astronomers claim that these revelations made in 1950 was to astronomical science, quote, a natural boundary in time, unquote. As will be shown in the isometric year for 1950, 2046 AD, this was indeed a boundary in time related to comets and the Earth. A meteorite fell near Murray, Kentucky, and two scientists at the Arizona State University independently examined the rock and detected the presence of all 18 of the known amino acids, as well as pyrimidines from the nucleic acid of what were once living cells. Insiders in the American government claimed that the official policy at this time concerning UFOs was to shoot them down. In 1950, the US government ceased the research and development of UFO technologies acquired from downed UFOs, as the entire research and development of extraterrestrial technology became privatized by secretive groups within the military-industrial complex. Since 1950, the American government could fall back on plausible deniability because it was private companies now conducting alien research and controlling the leaks of information on the UFO presence. On through 1952, several UFOs were downed after it was discovered that weaponized directed radar beams caused the UFO vehicles to malfunction. No machine guns, missiles, or other weaponry worked. But during these same 3 years, an incredible number of accidents occurred to American jets and other aircraft, both civilian and military, over the USA. UFO researchers claim that the increased amount of downed aircraft was a retaliatory measure by the UFO occupants, who feared the weaponized radar. Israel enacts the Law of Return, calling on Jews around the world to immigrate to Palestine, ending the diaspora. In this year, Charlie Brown debuted. In 1950, Immanuel Velikovsky released Worlds in Collision, a treasure trove of historical, archaeological, and astronomical data, demonstrating that the cataclysms of our planet's past was due to an intruder planet and comets. That 1950 is the isometric year for 2046 AD. This is amazing. 1. Iron Curtain over America. 6. Camouflage through limited disclosure. 7. Natural disasters. 8. Introduction to comets. 9. Mankind, child of the stars.